All right, guys, another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan Bilal. Oh, man, passion for real estate investments. Today we have on the show Larry Goins. Now, this is going to be a great interview. Oh, man, it says this guy has so much experience, man. So let's just jump right into it, Larry. You have over 30 years of experience in real estate. Let's first, I have to ask you a question, and then we're going to talk about your background. The first question I have is, why are you passionate for real estate investing?
Man, that's a great question. I think the main reason is there's so much you can do with real estate, not only to help yourself, but to help others. I mean, it's one of the basic needs, right? All need housing, right? But with real estate, there's so many things you can do. Like I've done just about all of it, right? I've done wholesaling, fix and flips. I've been a landlord. I've seller finance deals. I've bought notes. I've sold notes. I've created notes. I've bought residential, commercial, multifamily. I've owned Shoney's restaurants. I've owned Dollar General stores, mobile home parks. I've been in syndications. So there's so many things, but there's a very few things about real estate that I don't like. That's rehabs, short sales, and tenants. Those are the three things I don't do, right? And that's what I don't like, don't care about, and you can't make me do them, right? But there's plenty of other things about real estate to do, and you can help other people at the same time. So that's why I love real estate and am passionate about it.
Wow, thanks for that, man. And you still have a burst of energy. I love it. It's oozing
Yeah,
through the
baby.
screen.
Yeah, baby.
All right. So yeah, let's talk about your background a little bit. I mean, just the 30,000 foot view. Um, you know, Tell a story. How you guys started and the challenges you ran into and where you are today.
Absolutely. Well, I actually bought my first investment property 35 years ago in 1986. It was an FHA non-qualifying assumable loan. I took it over. Back then, all you had to do was fill out a little one-page application. They didn't even pull your credit, and you could take over the loan. So I kept that rental property for a few years. Then I sold it on a wrap and sold the note. So that was my very first deal. But I went to a seminar and started learning this stuff and did my first deal. And then, so far now I've done close to 1,000 deals in 12 different states right from my office here in Lake Wiley. And right now, I'm still in the trenches. I love doing real estate. That's what I do. I'm on the phone all day. Just right before I got on this call with you, I was on the phone with the seller, and I love it. That's what I enjoy doing. I'm really good at negotiating deals. And we do about 7 to 12 deals a month right here in our office. We got a very small team, and we just do them all right here from the office and do everything virtually.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard you were called a negotiator. Why is negotiating such an important part of real estate? What's your thoughts on that, Mr. Negotiator?
Well, yeah, I do believe that it's very important to be a good negotiator, not only in real estate, but in business in general. And, you got to get people to like you and trust you. And, you got to get your offer out there on the very first phone call and leave the door open for them to call you back or you to call them back, because you don't always get the deal on the very first call, right? You got to call people back, or they call you back, or they have to talk with a spouse or partner or brother or sister or aunt or uncle or somebody, right? But yeah, man, I love the negotiating part of it. I love the negotiating. I love the retrading. If we have to retrade a deal, where we go out and look at it afterwards, and oh well, you didn't tell me about the roof leak or the crack in the foundation. So I love doing that. And it's amazing what you can do when you pick up the phone. Now I use the computer, but when you pick up the phone and you get somebody on the other line, and you can literally buy an asset, a $50,000 asset for 20 grand, or $100,000 asset for 50 grand, or whatever. It's amazing what you can do just with the phone and flapping your lips, right?
That's awesome. Yeah, you say in the phone, but you're buying properties through email too. Let's talk about that a little bit. How do you do that?
Yeah. Well, we when we're dealing direct to seller, we have automated follow-up systems that we're making offers on property, or we have autoresponders that go out, and we've already made an offer on the first phone call because that's our model, right? So you don't even have to have the number in the email, because hey, we spoke about your property, you got an idea of where we need to be, have you sold it? If not, hit me back and let me know. Also, we buy Now, right now in today's market, there's not a ton of MLS or HUD type properties. However, whenever there are more properties like that, we're buying a lot of them just by sending our realtors emails, sending soft offers through emails, through realtors that have listings, bank on properties and stuff like that. So we do that as well. But right now in today's market, we're getting the majority of our deals direct from seller.
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit because it's been a shift and a transition because of COVID and everything that's happening. It's definitely, you have to be more strategic with what you're doing in order to generate leads. What type of challenges you guys run into? I mean, I know everything is not creme de la creme.
That's true. That's true. You know, I like to think that I've been really, really blessed because somehow I've stumbled into a market that, in my opinion, it's pretty much COVID proof. Okay. Number one, I'm in small town USA. Okay. I'm in the Charlotte MSA. I'm in Lake Wiley, South Carolina, right across the state line from Charlotte, North Carolina. But Charlotte is Mecklenburg County. I don't go out to the next county. I go out to the second and third and fourth counties out, right? So I market in about 7 to 8 different counties, 2 or 3 counties out, two, three, maybe 4 counties out. And I also market on the low price band, under 100,000. It's not unusual at all for me to buy a property for 5, 10, 20, 30,000. And if I'm wholesaling it, wholesale it for 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60,000, right? Now we do some higher price stuff, but I love the low price band because what I have found is there's many, 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 many more cash buyers when you're wholesaling. We do wholesaling and seller finance, right? So when you're wholesaling, there's many, many more cash buyers that have 30, 40, 50 grand than there are that have 150. And I don't want to deal with banks or lenders or even hard money lenders or private money lenders. We are a private money lender as well, but I don't even want to have to deal with that. If I'm wholesaling, I want to sell them for cash, right? And the other thing that I'd like to mention that makes it COVID proof is a $30,000 house is pretty much always going to be a $30,000 house, right? I mean, yeah, I'm going to pick up that house for 10 and I'm going to wholesale it for 20, but a $30,000 house is pretty much always a $30,000 house. And there's a few things that we do to ensure that we are COVID proof and economy proof. Number one, the low price. Number two, the small town. Number three, non-owner occupied or vacant. And number four, free and clear. That's the model I use, and that's the type of properties I love.
Awesome. I love your show, man. Let's talk a little bit about that. Brag TV. I saw your presentation years ago when you were talking about the podcast and everything else. Let's talk a little bit about that. How's that working for you? I started this podcast maybe a little bit over a year ago, and I was like, oh, this seems like more
Nice.
work. But it feels good to be able to educate people and give back. This is definitely a way that I bring people like yourself on and other people to kind of share their knowledge and experience. But let's talk about Bragg TV a little bit.
Sure. Well, BRAG stands for Be Rich and Generous. It's all about helping others. And, and I actually got the name from the pastor of my church that I used to go to. He had this thing called Brag Sunday, be rich and generous, bringing in things to help other people. You were donating food or shoes or whatever, and I asked him, I said, I'm getting ready to start a radio show. This was years ago. And I said, I love that whole acronym, the name Brag. I said, would you mind if I would used it? And he said, I'd be honored. In fact, I've had him on the show multiple times, talking about that. So, people first hear, they're like, Bragg, what is this about? Who's this guy think he is? But it's all about being rich and generous and helping others while you're helping yourself at the same time.
I love it. You actually have people and principles before profit, right? You have that. I like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to steal that, Larry.
Well, I stole it, so you can steal it too. I got it from Truett Cathy. Truett
Okay.
Cathy, the founder of Chick-fil-A, That's where it originally came from. People and principles before profits. When you do that, everyone profits.
Absolutely.
And I've just kind of taken it over as my own. And but I give credit where credit is due. So that's where it came from.
Awesome. Let's talk about the deal you're doing right now. What you got going right now? What's the latest and greatest? What you
Oh
got?
man, I got like 33, 34 deals in the
Just tell me
pipeline right
one,
now.
one
But
that's
one,
exciting.
oh man. Okay, so we're picking up a property right now for $50,000, and it's owner financing. And that's one of the things that I negotiate, and one of the reasons I love the cheap properties and I love free and clear, because if we can't come together on price, I can always make them an offer with seller financing. So I pick up a property for $50,000, seller financing, 5% interest. Now, if it's a landlord, I pay them 5% interest, right? So I pay them 5% interest. I stretch it out for 15, 20 years. And then all we do, we turn around and we sell that property for probably, 59.9, 64.9, 69.9. And then we collect the down payment, and then our buyer is making payments to our seller. We put the two together. We make sure all the paperwork's right. We make sure the buyer has insurance, and it lists the seller as lost payee or mortgagee on the insurance. So I mean, that's one simple deal right there that we have
That's
going
that's a
on right
wrap. You're
now.
doing you're doing a wrap. Is that a wrap you just talked
No,
about? That
we're
was a
not doing a wrap. We're just assigning the contract. So it's still a wholesale deal.
oh,
We're
got you.
assigning the
I
contract.
understand
So
now.
we never close on it. We never are involved in it.
Ooh,
And
sweet.
I tell now you're going to love this. I tell every single one of my sellers, I say, look, I'm not going to be the one to make payments to you. Okay. All I'm really going to do, I'm going to bring in a local partner. You're going to love that keyword right there. I should keep my mouth shut, but that's nobody uses that. Okay. I came up with that. All right.
All right.
I don't tell them I'm going to sell their house. I am going to bring in a local partner that's going to pay me to get involved in your deal. And they're going to pay me, and they're going to be the ones to manage it, keep it up, lease it, collect the rents, and make the payments. Right. And the way I get paid is they're basically going to pay me some money to get involved in the deal. That's the way I get paid, right? And I tell them, hey, I've been doing this 35 years. I've never had one of them go back. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen tomorrow, but we make sure you're protected by having insurance in place and all that.
Yeah, just being straight up with them and letting them know from the beginning what to expect. And I think that's where a lot of people who wholesale
Exactly.
deals go wrong. They try to cover up and then they don't find out to the closing table. Then the seller is upset because they feel like they was hoodwinked. So yeah, being upfront and being honest with them definitely counts. So I know you been in the business so long now, you're doing some education as well. Let's talk about that. Where can our listeners find some information to learn from you and some of those strategies you got there?
Sure, sure. Well, I've got a YouTube channel, but I also we're on Facebook, Larry H. Goins, but LarryGoins.com, Goins. And on there, you'll see, I've got webinars, I've got my podcast, I've got all that other stuff. And, I teach a couple of different models. Teach real estate day trading. I wrote a book about it called Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. It's available wherever books are sold. You can pick it up on the website as well. And I've written another book called HUD Homes Half Off, How to Buy HUD Houses for Pennies on the Dollar. And I also have a training I call Filthy Riches. That training is the thing I'm most excited about because it's how you buy cheap houses, turn around and sell them for 3 to 6 times what you paid for them with owner financing, with no buyer's list. And you can do it with no cash or credit or whatever. If you're just getting started, you can actually earn triple digit returns doing the Filthy Riches model. And I got a webinar there they can watch as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, somebody who's just getting started, these guys looking for free stuff. What do you got? What's the freemium process? What do you got for my subscribers? Special for
We've
my
got all
subscribers
kind
only.
of we got all kind of stuff on there at LarryGoins.com.
Got it.
And yeah, I'll be more than happy to for your subscribers only. I will get you a link and we'll get them a free copy of my book, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. How about that?
That's amazing. I'll post this when the podcast air in the show notes. So guys, just make sure you look out in the show notes. Look for Larry's book. One last question before I let you go, buddy. Somebody who's just getting started new. Your 35 years of experience, what's your words of advice for these people?
Um, Man, there's so many. Everybody says take action, right? That's what everybody says, right? But here's what I want to tell you. Remember something. When you become a real estate investor, you got to remember something. I buy houses. I don't get sold houses, right? There's so many people out there that even students, new students will say, hey, somebody so-and-so brought me this deal and they want this for it. And they say this and they told me this. No, but what do you say you can pay for it? What does your due diligence tell you you can pay for it? So remember, I buy houses. I don't get sold houses, right?
Yeah, another one I'm gonna have to steal from you, Larry. I
That's okay.
appreciate
You go
I
for it.
appreciate you being on the show, man. This is another great episode of PFREI, Passion for Real Estate Investments. Your host, Fuquan Bilal. Special guest today, Larry Goins. Oh man, make sure you guys check out that Bragg TV. Go to the site, LarryGoins.com, 877 Larry Go for the free book. That's where the free book is
There you
at.
go. All right.
877 Larry Go. You guys can get it there. It'll also be in the show notes as well. Really appreciate your time, man. I like to see you rocking and rolling as we got this podcast going on here. Deals in the background bubbling up.
There you go. Yeah, baby. I love it.
All right, Larry. Appreciate your time, man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.